Let's start with the power poll number 12, the UTEP Miners.
Who could have seen this coming?
It's so amazing that they ended up being 20-point favorites. It closed at 20-point underdogs. They were 20-point underdogs to New Mexico State, who, by the way, we love Larry Rose, but New Mexico State is not good.
Yeah.
They're not a good football team.
Yeah.
But they end up covering comfortably. And it's the same old story. And this is with, by the way, Q Wadley came back and made his debut.
We're like, wait, he's back?
He's back. He led them. He had team-high 19 carries, game-high 19 carries. But the bottom line is that they just do not have an offense.
Nope.
And part of it is that the offensive line is not as good as we thought it was going to be. We presumed that the
Will Hernandez.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if you were talking specifically about him.
Yeah. Will Hernandez. We figured that would be the rising tide to lift all boats. It just hasn't happened.
Can't do it by himself.
They threw 5 interceptions in this game.
Yeah.
They threw 5 interceptions. You can't win like that. They're not getting anything from their quarterbacks, and the running game is just not good enough to buoy them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, right now, and this is obviously we are only coming from our own place in this world because we pretty much watch Texas teams a lot closer than we watch any other team. If you want to tell me that UTEP's the worst team in the country, I'd believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, but they're definitely the worst team in Texas.
They don't do anything well.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's only going to get worse before it gets better. And you start to wonder how much longer Sean Kugler is going to be able to hold on to this job, because this isn't a rebuild. It's not something he inherited.
Right.
This is year 5 for him.
Yeah.
So.
And last year, I mean, I think we ended the year and we felt pretty comfortable that both Rice and Texas State were worse.
Yeah.
And it's not even close now.
It's not.
I mean,
it's not.
Texas
close.
State is much better.
I think Texas State would dominate UTEP right now. And
we already know what Rice can do against UTEP this year.
Number 11, Texas State. So I thought that was better. I'll tell you that I think that was
for a while.
That's about as much as you can expect from Texas State. I thought that they were overmatched.
Yeah.
But I mean, the bottom line is that Damian Williams is running for his life.
Yep.
It comes back to the offensive line. The offensive line's really bad, and Damian Williams is running for his life. Even though I think he's established himself as a fine quarterback.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
Make some things happen.
He can make some things happen, but he can't do it when he's running for his life.
No.
And the defense is, held up for as long as it could. But I want to see if I want to see the time of possession. That would be super interesting to me. Yeah, UTSA had the ball for 35 minutes.
Yeah.
35 of the 60.
Yeah.
So you can't win like that. You can't, like, any defense is going to wear down. And even, I just do not UTSA is a good team. We're going to talk about them in a minute. But overall, the offensive line is what's holding this team back. And when you only have 198 yards of total offense, albeit again against a good team, but that's an indictment of the team. Again, I thought it was better, but the bottom line is that this team is just not good enough.
I thought it was good enough that I'm a little surprised that you have this next team ahead of them.
Number 10, Rice.
Yep.
So the only reason that they're ahead of them is that I think that we saw some signs of life from this defense.
Okay, all right.
And whereas they had been just crushed by Stanford, and they got crushed by Houston, the defense actually played pretty well. They held them to 271 yards. This is an amazing FIU offense. Held them to 271 yards. But it's the same song in different verse offensively. They end up going with Jackson Tyner, and he... 131 yards and an interception. It's nothing special. But this Rice team has always been predicated on establishing the run, and they can't.
Right.
They can't.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's not true. I was going to say any order you want to put these bottom 3 in, I can live with, but I can't. UTEP's got to be last.
No, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I think you can debate Texas State and Rice.
UTEP's definitely got to be
think Texas State, there are more positive signs coming from them in specific units, especially.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I won't argue too hard against 10 versus 11 in UTEP or Texas State and Rice.
Yeah.
But like at the very least, if you do want to point to one thing, you could say you can point to one really good, not really good, but good, solid unit on Texas State, which is the front seven.
Yep.
You can point to that. For Rice, You can't. There's not a whole lot that's really good.
Got some nice pieces, but nothing that seems to stand out.
So we'll see what happens next week. But for now, I'm going to keep Rice at number 10. Number 9, North Texas.
We talk about how huge the gulf is between the teams at 10, 11, 12, and then
guys,
number 9 here.
It's like here's 10, gap.
Yeah.
Here's North Texas.
Yeah.
North Texas wins inelegantly, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I mean, really, they led this game pretty comfortably most of it, and then kind of it got hairy at the end, and then they managed to fight off UAB.
They were up 30
to
to 14 at halftime.
Yeah.
It looked like they were going to cruise. Everything was going fine, and then all of a sudden UAB caught fire and started hitting big play after big play. Which, by the way, number of interesting former Texans on this team. Former Dallas Skyline, I think, quarterback Cedarian Copeland's playing wide receiver for UAB. In any case, what we thought would happen, right? UAB has a trash rush defense.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wilson went nuts, 211 yards, including that long run that
at the very end.
At the very end, that ended up
Thought he was gone
setting
when
up
he broke through.
Setting up the game-winning field goal on the final play. But between that, Mason Fine was solid. They were able. The offense was, in my mind, okay. They don't really bear any blame here, but the defense suddenly has a problem defending the pass. And if you have a problem defending the pass against UAB, I worry about where you're going next week and where this thing goes. That's a bit of a red flag for North Texas. A win's a win. You take it. The goal of 6-6 or 7-5 is still right there, but that was a little bit hairy for me.
Yeah.
So they stay at number 9. Number 8, Baylor.
That was a surprise.
So I had Baylor fans getting on to me because I noted.
Well, you hate Baylor.
That's true.
Hashtag Tepper hates Baylor.
But all I did was I noted that they're 0-4 for the first time since 1999, I think it was, and then they have not been 0-5 since 1970-something. And Baylor fans are like, is that all you have to say? I'm like, first of all, let me point this out. I'm not here to pump sunshine up your butt. There are websites you can subscribe to that will pump sunshine up your butt.
Yeah.
This is not that website.
All you did was point out a fact.
Now, let me be clear. I thought Baylor played their best game of the year by a factor of about 100.
I'm suddenly not dreading the next couple games. I feel like they might have a chance to win the next 2.
I thought they played their best game by a factor of about 100. This team looked like a team that could hurt people.
Yeah.
Zach Smith looked great.
Yeah.
I thought he really grew up in this game.
Yeah.
463 yards and 4 touchdowns passing. And what's funny is that in a lot of respects, Matt Rule said, whereas we've been talking about how he inherits these pieces that aren't necessarily pieces for his offense.
Yeah.
He had the best success when he said, all right, let's adjust my offense for these pieces.
Yeah.
Let's start airing it out. Let's go deep to Denzel Mims.
Yeah.
Let's go deep to Chris Platt.
Yeah.
Let's go deep to Pooh Strickland.
Yeah.
They started airing it out. The running game didn't get going, and that's a little bit concerning because that's going to be more sustainable for them in my mind.
I think it'll get better because, the line depth is the issue really there. But the fact that Terrence Williams had a game under his feet, and you hope that he sort of gets into a rhythm as they go. It's going to be tough with that offensive line, though, there's no doubt.
The rushing defense continues to be a problem. They give up 342 yards on the ground, including a 99-yard touchdown run from Abdul Adams. And Oklahoma's not a team that runs the ball particularly well. Of all the things they do well, that's not one of them.
Yeah.
Look, it's the headline here is that this is the best game that Baylor has played all year long by a huge margin. But they're still 0-4, and now they're going to Manhattan.
Yeah.
And 0-5 is a very real possibility.
But like a week ago, we were like, man, I really think they're going to go 0-12. And now I'm like, I don't think they will now.
They can win
I think
games.
they figured some things out. And you know, I'm excited about the next 2 games before I would have been like, I don't know if I can watch this over and over.
Baylor's number 8 in the power poll, but the arrow is pointing up. There's that.
Relatively speaking.
Number 7, SMU. And I feel bad about this because I want to move them up.
Right.
But the problem is that I can't based on the other teams, which is a nice thing to have happen after last year.
Or after the last couple years.
That was a dominant effort over a decent Arkansas State team.
Really nice win.
Arkansas State's not amazing.
No.
I'm not here to tell you that Arkansas State's going to win the national championship. But that's a decent Arkansas State team, and they dominated them.
Yeah.
They ran for 314 yards. Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Xavier Jones went nuts, 146 yards. Keemon Freeman ran for 92 yards. They ran the ball really well. Ben Hicks, 16 of 32, 266.
Still don't love that.
Don't love it.
Still don't love his lines. Yeah.
It's not elegant, but it works.
It works so far.
And as long as that running game keeps going and the defense continues to play, the kind of defense that they've been able to play. I mean, look, they held, Arkansas State did have 427 yards, but they forced 2 turnovers and they made stops when they needed to.
Yeah.
And so for me, this was a nice win for SMU. And you start looking at their schedule, and you're like, look, 7-5 is very much in play here in my mind. So SMU's number 7. Number 6, Texas. Took the week off, ended up losing a spot. There you go. Number 5, Texas Tech. Oh, Raider power. The Texas Tech defense puts together a virtuoso performance. 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers. Helped a little bit by Kyle Allen. But 5 turnovers. They were making plays, and as we mentioned before, it's not a schematic thing.
Right.
It is guys getting off blocks and making tackles. And it's nothing special. They're just getting better. And that is super encouraging because you can't scheme around guys being better.
Yep.
So, overall, great win for Tech.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I mean, now they draw Oklahoma State, and look, that's not going to be fun. But
who knows? Right.
Who knows? Number 4, Texas A&M. It's just the same song.
Can I take my
We
moment?
go to Chief A&M Arkansas correspondent Max Thompson.
In the middle of the 4th quarter of this game, after Arkansas went up before they all fell apart again, I said, this game will end tied in regulation, and Arkansas will lose it in overtime because that's how this game goes.
Yeah. Now the one thing I will say is that you said Arkansas is going to lose the game,
and A&M will not win the game.
I will say it's a great play by Armani Watts.
It was a great play by Armani Watts.
Great play by Armani Watts, and for a guy who made a bunch of really questionable decisions and throws during the game, Kellen Mond put it on the money to Christian Kirk.
Absolutely.
When it counted.
I will give them that. But otherwise, I'm pretty proud of my prediction.
Nothing changes about how I feel about this A&M team.
They'll scare the crap out of you every week.
I think they're fatally flawed. But a win is a win. They're 3-1, and they needed this win because the schedule gets a lot tougher. If they're going to get to 7-5 or something like that,
Although, with each passing week, the SEC looks less and less impressive,
sure.
which I think bodes well for them.
Who knows?
It gives them a shot.
Who knows? But A&M stays at number 4. A win is a win, and I don't think Brett Bielema will be sending Aggies any Christmas cards.
No.
He continues to be personally victimized by A&M.
That's pretty amazing.
Number 3, the UTSA Roadrunners. We talked about them a little bit earlier, but this team is humming right now. This team, there's starting to be some people on Twitter who are not like you and me, who are saying you need to rank UTSA. And look, I'm just telling you, you look up and down that schedule and tell me who's definitely going to beat them. They're going to have a shot. They're going to be favored. So they're 3-0. They've got 9 games left. They're going to be favored in at least 6 of them.
Yep.
You win the games you're favored, that's 9 wins.
Yeah. I don't trust them enough to think that they won't.
I'm sorry, they have 8 games left.
They have 8 games. I don't trust them enough to believe they won't lose at least one game they should have won. Mm-hmm. And I think they'll lose 2 even games.
Yeah.
But, Lord, only 3 losses is still, that's just, the arrow is.
The defense continues to be fantastic, and the real bright spot of this team. If they continue to get stuff on the ground, and look, 357 yards against the Texas State front 7 is impressive. That is impressive. Jalen Rhodes went nuts, 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. UTSA is trending upward, and I think they're going to start to get on the national map. I really do, because they're 3-0 and they're looking really good. Number 2, the Houston Cougars. Ed Oliver can't do it by himself.
No.
And he needs some help. And look, my brother's a tech grad. And he texted me. I wish I had the text up, but he texted me. He goes, "That Ed Oliver kid's the truth." And I'm like, "Yep, been trying to tell you.
Yeah,
he's incredible." And the defense overall, I thought played really well. I thought they played really well. They pressured Nick Shemenek.
Yeah, you can't understate. The Tech offense is built to score 40, 50 points. Mm-hmm. That's what they're built to do, and they were in the 20s.
And they only hit like 1 home run.
Yep.
And it's clear that the Tech defense really respected the Houston secondary because they weren't taking deep shots.
Yep.
It was a lot of stuff to the side, a lot of crossing patterns, stuff like that. In my mind, though, the Houston offense is a huge, huge red flag.
It's looking bad right now.
That they're not able to run the ball, and Kyle Allen is just not. I mean, he's a solid quarterback, but he's nothing special.
Postma came in and looked good.
He did, and I wonder if they're going to think about making a change there. So, Houston falls to number 2, and the new number 1 team.
We have a new number 1. It's been like a year.
The new number 1 team in the power poll is the TCU Horned Frogs.
That was awesome.
I wonder. What I worry about is that people across the nation are going to say, "Oh, see, Oklahoma State was overrated." No, they weren't.
They're good.
That's a really good Oklahoma State team.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think maybe y'all just found out what we've been suspecting for about a year, which is that this TCU team is really good. Yeah. Kenny Hill took care of the football for the most part. A couple throws were a little dicey. But he took care of the football.
His accuracy is going to bite him once in a while.
Yes,
it's just the way it is at this point.
And we said, I said it in free money.
Yeah.
Stick to the running game.
Yep.
Stick to the running game.
Darius Anderson, man.
And what happens? And they stick with the running game, and it works. TCU ends up running for, I want to get this right, 238 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Pretty sweet.
Darius Anderson was great. They brought in Shewo Alanalua.
There you go.
Shewo Alanalua.
Yeah.
And he is
the Swiss Army knife.
He
of that
really
team.
is. He does everything.
Yeah.
Between that, Kenny Hill was sharp enough.
Yep.
The receivers made plays, and then you lean on that defense, and you say, go win this game for us. And the defense forced a number of turnovers. In fact, they picked him off 3 times. They end up forcing 4 turnovers on the day, and that's the blueprint.
Yeah.
And now TCU, I hope, is in the national conversation.
They should be. Here's the thing: we expected Patterson to figure out how to push that defense harder this year. They're showing up so far, but I'm telling you, what blows me away are the offensive weapons because you knew you'd have Sean Nixon back, and he's been great. You knew Kyle Hicks, but Hicks is hurt right now, so it's like, oh, we'll just give it to Anderson, and he was amazing. And here's the other thing: Austin's been great at wideout, but it's the 2 freshmen, Rager and Snell from Waxahachie, who are putting them over the top. They have got so many freaking weapons right now. It's ridiculous. Speed, everything. They are a huge pain in the butt.
And give some credit to the offensive line, which is playing well.
Yes.
Playing well. It's keeping Hill clean, giving him time to throw, and then they're able to get
Sonny Cumbie,
it really is.
doing this by himself.
Look, they got a big game this week, but they get West Virginia at home, and you start looking up and down the schedule. They still got a trip to Manhattan. Oh, I'm sorry, they still got a trip to Manhattan too.
Yeah.
But they still got a trip to Norman, and that's looming. But that's
There's
down
a lot
of
stuff coming still.
Down the road.
It's early, but this is awesome.
For now, TCU, the number 1 team in the power poll.